This is so cool.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, and then I have my birth chart too. Well, I have my
Okay.
birth date.
So,
Maybe some info.
yeah, sure, man. We are now live.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Oh, there's a little delay, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's okay. So, what's your spiel, brother?
All right, everybody. So, welcome back to You, Yourself, and Why, a spiritual self improvement, self growth, messy clusterfuck of a journey that I am recording for all of you guys. A story on my path as well as the path of all of my amazing guests. And on the last episode, you guys all met Jacqueline Larita, who is a good friend of mine. I met in New Jersey while she was filming for The Real Housewives of New Jersey,
Hmm.
and she's since moved back to her family in Vegas. So she has a lot of family out here, and I have, as you know, been driving across country. So I popped over and said hello, and we talked about her journey, sharing the ups and downs of motherhood, wifehood, familyhood, exposing the truths of what we think reality TV is and what it actually isn't, sharing the journey of her son Nicholas's autism diagnosis,
Oh boy.
the highs and lows of
It's heavy.
the situations with her daughter Ashley, who we love as well, and what else? There was tons of topics. We talked about spirituality, we pulled tarot cards. She was curious about my journey cross country, so that was really vulnerable of her to discuss some of these experiences that she's going through, and now not being on the show anymore, and what that's like, sort of reacclimating into the life she had before the show. So that's a really cool interview. I love her. I love her energy. I know all you guys love her energy too. So check that episode out. That's 57. I can't believe I'm on 57. That's crazy.
It's impressive.
Yeah. So if you'd like to share this episode that we're recording now, you can. That is, super helpful with sharing the messages of my guests. Rate and leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you feel called to. And what else? Follow us on Instagram. I'm sharing my journey at Steve Weigartner, sorry, on Instagram, my road trip, where I'm headed, where I've been, and then I have the Instagram for the podcast, You Yourself and Why, funny spiritual memes, life lessons, uplifting stories, all to be shared with you guys. We have a Facebook group, You Yourself and Why. You can request to join. It's a private group. I keep it that way so that we can be in a safe shell with a community of people where everyone's there for the right reasons. So that's available. And I'm also doing coaching calls. So if you'd like to reach out to me in any of those avenues to talk about your wellness journey and your goals, that's also something that I'm doing now, that I am an IIN graduate, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition.
Woo!
Woohoo, finally.
Yeah. All right.
And the last episode that I had with my guest today was March something or another.
21st. March 21st. Right when all this fantastically crazy shit popped off.
Yeah, so we just listened to like the tail end of that episode to sort of get caught up of where we were, and now we're going to pick up where we left off.
Mhm.
And he is I mean, you're just doing everything. I walked in today because we never actually met in person,
Right.
but met in person just now, like a half hour ago. Walked in. He's got bowls and what is that stuff you were showing me?
The hape,
The hape?
spiritual snuff.
Yep.
Yeah, sound lounge. And
Sound lounge.
the Palo Santo and
Yep.
burning some scents behind us here, keeping the energy. I like to keep my place like a sanctuary, right? Like high vibration, and just a place where it feels safe
It
and
does feel safe.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
totally. And I guess it's like easier to say, what don't you do, to explain you, because you do it all.
Well, I don't know how to make balloon animals.
Okay.
I'm working on that one.
Okay. Spiritual balloon animals. Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I've taken all my collective experiences throughout my life, and I'm a firm believer that we should be really doing what we love to do, what we feel passionate about, and learn how to monetize it. I think that that's really the concept of the new age coming into this age of Aquarius. is where we are going to be getting away from the 9 to 5, the working for corporations or doing something that we feel like we need for safety, and as opposed to that, embracing the Uranian energy, which is, jumping into that unknown, jumping into that sort of fear of what's next, of where does what makes my heart, feel like on fire, and going into that space for self-exploration and for to really discover what our bigger purpose is in this life, and as it relates to humanity. Like, we all have an inner philanthropist in us in some way, shape, or form. I believe that everyone on earth has a purpose. It's just a lot of people, we get caught up in the conditioning and like the social norms of how we're told that we need to be, right? And it's so interesting how, like, more and more people, like, basically the awakening process is awakening to that fact that no, this is not how our life is meant to go. We are meant to do what we love, and we are much more productive when we're doing what we love and standing in our true authentic power. So that's where that's where I think we're going to start to see a lot of things happening here in the near future. Right now, the energies that we're experiencing is more like sit down, wait, chill, it's almost like the universe is sort of sitting us down, and if we try to resist, it's like, no, you are not moving anywhere, right? And then as it's like, wait a minute, let me dust all this dark shit off you, and let me get rid of all this past crap. And you can either enjoy it and go with the flow and learn from it, or you can fight it every step of the way and just make life really hard on you. So definitely a good idea to just like, okay, I submit, uncle,
That's hard.
I'm not gonna, it is, because that requires you to let go of control, which really, when you end up looking at it, after the fact, the control is just an illusion. You might be able to hold on to certain things for a certain amount of time, but eventually it's going to just deteriorate your soul. And that's where breakdowns, breakthroughs, what I call tower moments, happen. And the change is going to happen anyways. It's just like, are you willing to go along with it, or are you just going to fight it and be, stubborn?
I forgot to introduce myself and you. So
That's okay.
My name is Steve Weigarter. I am the host of You, Yourself, and Why. And my guest today is...
I am Naya Vazakis, the spiritual bodybuilder, and this is my YouTube channel. And we are mixing it up here, trying something new. We initially connected on social media, and we did a podcast, and now we're, this guy's been doing a freaking cross country journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to stop in Vegas, and now we're getting to meet each other in real life. So it's awesome to be here with you, man.
Too. I've been meeting myself in deeper and deeper ways than I ever thought possible.
I'm sure.
Really. So, but we left off with, I guess, the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, you were the first interview I had over Zoom where I had to, because I didn't have a choice, because we were locked
right.
in. But we talked about where the state of things were headed, and it's so interesting now being perhaps in the middle of the storm. But
yeah,
okay, all right, we are.
Well, I think we're more at the tail end of one storm and the beginning of another one.
There's another one.
Well, there's always going to be a storm, especially with the dramatic amount of shifting and change. But the thing is, the thing is though, the storm that's going on out there does not necessarily mean there has to be a storm in here. Right? So that's a distinction that we have to make. Coming into this new era, this new age, we have to be willing to grow and evolve with these new energies. So we can embrace the storm out there through the centeredness and calmness of our authenticity inside here. And that just comes back exactly to my point. Living your true divine purpose and nature is going to be really important to embody this new energy. And when we do embody it, it's going to change our ways, our lives in ways that our control dynamic may not be able to comprehend. And that's where, like, there's a lot of people that are afraid of the unknown.
Totally.
And
I mean, that's what I feel like this whole year has been a test. How comfortable can you be with the uncomfortable? Really. The stillness in the storm.
Finding that stillness is activating the heart chakra. That's raising to the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is essentially living from the heart, whereas the third dimension is living from the mind. That's the basic distinction.
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I had a friend ask me, what is 5D? How do you explain 5D?
5D is the vibration of love,
Okay.
essentially,
And
on an energetic level.
And okay, so he was just like, "What do you? I don't get 3D. What are you talking about, Steve?"
So if you think about 3D, 3D is there's darker energies that live there, right? It's a dualistic energy. It's the age of Pisces. Pisces is dualistic in nature. So we've thought from this place of duality for so long. You know, our religions teach it, our doctrine and governments teach it. Everything is set up, the systems are set up in that way to abide by life in that way. We've been conditioned that way. But with this new energy coming from heart space, we're going to see new leaders coming with these progressive approaches and ideas of coming from the heart space, learning how to trust, learn how to be vulnerable, and actually have systems and societies in place that are going to be more communal, like more like authenticity based. Like at this point in the game, right? If you think about going to a doctor at this point, right, with all the shit that's out there, I mean, most people don't trust doctors anymore, right? It's all big pharma, it's all money. All they want you to do is give you a prescription and cut you open. So that certificate of 8 years of school means pretty much shit, right?
Right.
But when you help someone change their lives, when you care, when you put your heart and soul into it, and you do, you know, maybe nobody's heard of doing this before, but they've gone through all that other stuff and it's caused nothing but harm. So they're just ready to do whatever. They're throwing out all the logical mindset stuff, right? And someone actually changes when they take you from that place of compassion and that place of passion, and they change your life. They shift your frequency and your vibration so much that it makes you change your entire understanding. And when you trust that person may have no degree, may have no even certificate, but they figured you out. Right. Yeah. That is where we are going. And we can already see that in a major way, how like holistic and integrative nutrition and all these, like, you know, biohacking techniques that are like, when you explain it, you break it down, it just makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
But when you talk to a doctor, they're so overloaded and so overwhelmed, and they gotta go through these systems that are basically they're restricted by, you never know all the information. Everything is compartmentalized. And so that compartmentalization is what's going to be going away. And it's that fundamental thought process that is going to shift really big time once we cross through that December 21st axis.
Well, I learned in nutrition school is that doctors don't get any sort of nutrition.
I think they have one nutrition class in the entire time that
and
they're
then
in school.
You talk about how 80 to 90% of doctor visits are lifestyle related. There's that saying that your genes are the loaded gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger.
Ooh, I like that.
It's our choices, and the choice, like, we have more choices than we realize, and you can literally change the expression of the genes that you are given through the choices that you make in your life. And they don't teach you that. All they do is give you meds and pills and surgeries, and it's just not preventative. It's putting a band-aid on a problem that you could have not even
making sure they have customers.
It's
not healthcare, it's disease maintenance. That's what it is. Totally. And you know, they're discovering now more and more that neuroplasticity is really significant, especially with, you know, the reemergence of plant medicines like ayahuasca, right? They really, like, they're doing a lot of research on it now and seeing and showing that the brain can change, it can switch. But you know, a lot of these medications that we get on, it changes the pH, it can cross the blood-brain barrier, it can actually alter the neuroplasticity in a negative way.
Oh.
So that's actually a big reason why like things like dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's exist, because all these neurotoxins are getting into the brain, and it's basically like there's these leftover proteins that get stuck in the brain, and through traumas, I don't know if you ever heard of crooked theory, but crooked theory is a theory that suggests that all autoimmune issues and things like Parkinson's are a result of heavy metal toxicity, because we are so bombarded with heavy metals through chemtrails, and with pesticides and shit in our foods, through vaccines, through medications, through all these different things,
and through the metals that our livestock is living in. The metal can leach into their bodies, 100%. And then we eat the meat.
Right. Yeah, but not only that, with plants too.
Yeah.
You know, like Roundup and all these different, like all like fruits, vegetables, you name it. Like they're all covered in these fucking toxins that are essentially like, you know, GMOs. And that's another point too. GMOs, very, very few foods nowadays are not genetically modified.
Right.
Like Monsanto has purchased like the seeds for, I mean, seeds are patented now.
Right.
It's crazy. So we have all these genetically modified foods that are not giving our bodies any kind of nutrient fulfillment. So that's, it's creating these imbalances and these destructive, you know, nutritional like patterns in our body, and it's creating more and more and more issues. So we are going to be going back. I think like a lot more urban farmers and like people like botanists and microbiologists are going to start to be creating these really cool new ways of how to grow food, like create more natural experiences, and also like commune kind of living too. I think is going to come back with the North Node in Gemini. It's all about building community. And I'm really seeing that a lot, like in places like Sedona, right?
I was just there.
Yeah.
That's
So
where I
like
hosted my retreat.
Yeah, there's a lot of retreats. Two of my really good friends, Victor Otto and Aaron Darty, they're basically living down there.
They live there. Yeah. I was there with my buddy JL Jordan. He's the one that him and Stephanie are partners, and they are very good friends of mine, and they love you.
Oh,
they
cool.
love your authenticity. And Jordan and I are hosting another retreat together in February in Sedona. And I was actually, we were at local juicery on the main strip in Sedona, and
nice.
Drew Canola was there. He's the founder of Organifi.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he owns a restaurant.
Oh, nice.
And him and Aaron Dowdy are our buddies.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in this world, everybody knows everybody.
Right. Yeah. It's so
kind of crazy.
That's what we need more, is more people that are going to be positive, influential role models for things like organic supplements and superfoods, and not Kardashian, you know, Maserati, you know, all this materialistic bullshit.
I mean, look,
we need people that are actual role models.
Right. I agree 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can have your material stuff, you know, but just don't be so like
your value
ignorant about it. Like you're living based off the validation that you get from the outside circumstances. And fuck, we've all done it. I did it for a long time until, you know, the universe handed me a big slice of humble pie.
How did you look for external validation?
Well, when I was competing in bodybuilding, I mean, you know, like I was jacked and shredded. I mean, like I know I'm in still okay shape now, but like I was ridiculous. Like looking back now, and I remember when I was there, I was so insecure about it. I was so hard on myself, and but I got a lot of external validation, you know, but it was always fleeting. It was always I wanted more. It was just never enough.
Yeah.
And you know, so now in retrospect, like, okay, like, and also I beat the shit out of my body in the process. I was taking way too much gear.
Okay.
And like I was doing really extreme diets like all the time. Like I dieted straight for about 3 years. I never broke rank. I never, you know, ate any cheat meals or anything, but it was too strict.
Okay.
I was way under eating.
Okay.
And I was overtraining, and I was just relying on performance enhancing drugs to keep me big. And it worked for a while until it didn't.
Right.
And then like, you know, I wanted to get my pro card, and I just, my last show, I pushed myself way too hard. And I ended up I didn't place very well. And I went to like a very nasty identity crisis.
Oh yes. And we, for those of you listening who are new, we do talk about Name's entire journey. Because he's been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
On the first episode back in March. I mean, do you want to give them like a summary?
Oh, I mean,
3 sentences.
I talk a lot about a lot of this stuff, you know, in a lot of my content, but really, what I've come to really understand about, like, I used to say that, you know, I've been through a lot of shit, but everybody's been through a lot of shit in their own way. I don't really look at it like that anymore. I look at it like this has been the experiences that have created me, and I'm proud of the man that I've become. So I'm grateful for all the difficulties and, you know, and all the stuff that I've been through, you know. And I have a lot of my friends, like the only kind of people I can surround myself with now are people that have been through experiences like this, and that like have just, when you go through experience like that, it changes you.
Yeah.
It makes you different. and I acknowledge and admire. I have this one guy that I just started working with. He's a former operator, like CAG, like working with like Delta and SEAL Team 6 and all these guys. So being a former EOD guy, we clicked really deeply, and he's going through his own spiritual process right now, and and when you have like similar experiences like that, it brings that bond, and now it's almost like bringing a part of the camaraderie of the military back to me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's really nice how the universe always brings you back things that maybe you didn't realize you missed or needed or wanted. But but it's like, okay, I got this ride or die, we're gonna work some magic and make some shit happen, change some lives. And that's what I'm all about now, just changing lives, man. It's all about changing lives one at a time.
And my show is all about people sharing the challenges that they've overcome in order to find on the other side of it who they really are. So, I have people on all the time that just deeply inspire me, that ground me in my purpose, which is to share my journey as well as yours. And it brings people together because we're so much more alike than we are different.
Yeah, right.
So
really, at the very core, everybody is the same. That's that Neptunian energy of we're all one, right?
Love it.
And the more that we can really realize that and like appreciate that, the more that we stand in that power of like, okay, well, if I'm being triggered by something, especially right now, politics. Like politics is fucking ridiculous because everybody's so triggered, but realize that we are all one. So we may have a difference of opinion, but why is that person, candidate, or situation triggering you so bad? That's what you need to really take a look at. And I mean, it's weird. It's fucking weird, man. Like,
I don't get it.
Like people that hate Trump, like, it's a whole different level of trigger. Like, fascinating. It's fascinating to me.
I think I always say your trigger is your teacher.
100%.
So wherever you're being triggered, it's literally the universe pointing its finger right where you aren't yet healed.
Right.
And
exactly.
I don't know if people are afraid to go to the dark shadow where the finger pointing is.
Well, that's exactly where all that trigger is. It is in the shadow, and a lot of people are not willing to look at it, which is really unfortunate.
What do you think the big lesson of 2020 so far has been for the collective?
Big lesson for everybody. This has been like a big Saturn return for humanity.
Oh.
And the lesson is very simply, start living from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Too many people are living from their minds and dualistic and living in their negative, behavior patterns. But right now it's like you've been shown the way, you've been shown enough, you've been exposed to all this stuff. And if you're still choosing to not step into your heart, then you're getting locked into that to that place, and you're basically going to be living out this pattern for the rest of your life. Like that's basically December 21st is that day when it's like, okay, you're either shitting or you're getting off the pot, but you can't stay here.
Oh,
and so
December 21st.
December 21st, that's the day when we really shift. It's the shift is like 51-49%. It's shifting to this new paradigm where it's going to be more heart-centered, heart-based living, and it's going to start shifting more, meaning that like the light workers and the people that are leading this brigade, so to speak, we're going to be gaining more power, more notoriety, more authority.
Okay.
Right.
I'd like to see that happen.
So we're gonna well I mean, look at even like in the political arena now, a lot of people that are running for office, like look at Dr. Shiva, right?
Oh, he's running.
Dr. Shiva's running for Senate, and he's getting fucked too. There's been voter fraud, and so he's like trying to get he needs to get written in for whatever's going on right now. But he's just one example of many that I've seen that. He has 2 PhDs from MIT. The dude, he invented email. Okay, so he's going against the establishment because he's all about we need safety testing, and we need to change the whole vaccine game because it is killing people and it is doing a lot of harm, and the whole medical system, the whole political system. He has all these amazing ideas of like changing things around, but he goes against the grain, right? And there's so much slander and bullshit, but you can see the energy. It's like these people that are slandering, they're hiding behind their advertising and marketing, and they're hiding behind their money or their power that they already have. And you can see how that's not really working anymore. More and more people are standing up, protests, and I mean, like you see everywhere Donald Trump goes, there's like thousands and thousands of people there, like, you know, cheering him on and shit. And you know, and let's just put it out there, okay? On the election day, on November 3rd, the North Node is going to be at 20 degrees of Gemini.
Okay.
Donald Trump's natal North Node is at 20 degrees of Gemini.
Yeah.
So, not to mention too that his he has Uranus conjunct his North Node, his 10th house. So all this, we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to mention also that the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on December 21st is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So we have all this Aquarian energy coming in, pushing in. So it's almost like there's a battle right now between Uranus and Saturn. Okay. That is like the real. So Saturn represents the past. It represents structure. It represents control. Right. It represents like the scaffolding of our consciousness, of the systems in play, even our emotions, right? Uranus represents growth. It represents expansion. Okay. It represents, you know, like genius, like Albert Einstein, right? It represents evolution. So a lot of people, like, you know, are afraid of evolution. They're afraid of change. Right. Ironically, and the change, the apprehension of change is that control dynamic. Right? But as we embrace the change, more and more people step into that unknown, and that is essentially us stepping in our own shadow. Right. So it's all connected. So we see clearly who the people that want control, that want things to stay the same, that the same powers that be, they don't want to lose their control, and they're losing their shit because the Uranian energy is starting to take over. But we see going into the age of Aquarius, it's going to take over. Right? That Uranian energy is going to blast it. But this next 10 years, I mean, we're coming out of what, like, we haven't had a Jupiter Saturn conjunction in Aquarius since 1405. Okay. So that's what, 600 something years. Right. So we're ending, like, November and December. We are ending multiple layers of lifetimes of karma, lifetimes of shit. I mean, we have another, like, the Saturn Pluto conjunction, the Saturn Pluto and Jupiter conjunction that's been in Capricorn this whole year. Okay. All right. That hasn't happened in over 2,000 years. Okay. 2,000 years, which is the entire age of Pisces. Oh. Right? Yeah. Okay. So literally this year we have been clearing lifetimes of karma because we cannot bring that karma from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Right. That's why we are special that are living right now. Right? So yeah, mind fucking blowing when you really get down into the energetics of it. So we are going into this new place, clearing, and it's the light workers, it's the way showers, it's the empaths that have the ability to tap into the heart, but it's fucking painful. Yes. Right? Yes. But we have the ability, like most empaths or sensitives or light workers grew up in a shitty household. They're the you know, the redhead stepchild, the one that never got along, the one that always felt like there was something wrong, like never feeling like they belong to this earth. And now this earth is coming and it's opening up. And now we are all like waking up to this, holy shit. Okay. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what my soul has been waiting to live. It's, you know, life is just starting now for all of us, which is really exciting, scary, confusing, all these different, it's like being reborn, like having a birth, like when you have a child, right? Like you have all these new feelings of love and terror and excitement and what the fuck am I going to do? And how am I going to do this? And I have no control and I don't know what, you know, and it's all just coming out at the same time. That's why it's been so intense. But all of it still, I mean, we in November, we still have Mars is going to go direct. We still have Mercury that's going to go direct. And we're going to have the last of 3 Pluto and Jupiter conjunctions. Okay. So that's been going on all year as well. Okay. Yeah. So we got to clear that shit first. Then we go into eclipse season in December. All right. So we're starting a new eclipse period, a new 18-month eclipse period in Sagittarius and Gemini.
Oh.
So all the Sagittariuses and Geminis out there, whether you're your sun, moon, or rising, time for you guys to get, your asses kicked a little bit. I know, because I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
And it just came out of Capricorn Cancer. So whenever the nodes are in your sign, whether it's your sun, moon, or rising, that means that there's karma is coming back. And whatever you've sown, you will reap. So if you've been doing some shady, fucked up shit, then I feel sorry for you, especially right now. But if you've been doing good things and helping people, then you're going to get a lot of really good karma coming back to you, right? And it's also like a lot of past life shit too. But we got to clear that stuff in November. Then December is the very final chord. It's the very final lap, right?
Okay.
So we finally hit the finish line from Pisces into Aquarius, and then the next 10 years or so, all right, this entire decade is filled with massively transformative effects. I'm going to say if we look at 2026, 2027, we're going to have Neptune, Saturn, Chiron, all in Aries.
Okay.
And we're going to be having Uranus coming to Gemini. So this is it's very fiery and very airy. So for the last 600 years, we've had these Saturn Jupiter conjunctions in Earth signs.
Oh,
right. So we're switching into a 240-year period of a Jupiter Saturn conjunction in air signs. So we're having a lot more air, we're having a lot more air energy come into play, which is mental. It's also technology. Okay. So we're gonna start seeing massive advances in technology, which we're already hearing about, seeing about now, right? But it's going think about the technology in the last 10 years. 10 years ago, maybe the iPhone 1 came out, right?
Yeah.
And now we're already on iPhone fucking 12. I mean, come on. And even just gaming systems, things like that. Now they have VR goggles that you can put on and vests with tactile transducers in it that make you feel like you're getting shot if you're fucking playing it. It's fucking nuts, dude. Yeah. And I think AI is going to start to become a thing. I think big huge leaps, where the hell did this come from? Holy crap. It's going to change the way that we operate just as a species. And then a lot of fire energy is coming in too. So fire is going to be passionate, intense. It can be, fire can be war too, which the United States is coming into its Pluto return at the end of 2022 and the end of 2024.
What do you think that, because I had Dr. Lennox on.
Okay.
He was talking about how, Pluto is returning in 2022. And it's bringing up a lot of secrets, he said, dark shit that we've hidden.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we've already been seeing that this year.
Yep.
And we're not even in the exact point yet. But Pluto, no country has ever seen a Pluto return. No, it only happens every 248 years. But if you look back in history, other countries, they've either changed their government or changed their name or done some kind of shifting with their constitution or with the body of leadership.
Oh. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So we've been operating on the same constitution for the last 200.
Yes,
we've added to it. That's the birth of it. 1776.
Yes.
Right.
That's what you said.
Yeah. So the Pluto return, we're coming into it now, but it's not going to be exact for another year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay.
So it's still building up to that point, and then it's going to be exact for about a year and a half.
Oh God.
Because Pluto's the slowest moving planet.
Right.
It only moves, a couple minutes a day, maybe.
When it moves past exact, is there going to be a slow descent? Or...
Once that aspect is complete, that's when the birth of the United States will begin again. Okay. So think of it like a 1.5 to 2 year long birthing process.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Which means that there's going to be a massive divide at first, which we're seeing now, in government, in leadership,
in everyone.
There's going to be a ton of reform, and we're probably going to end up writing a whole new constitution. There may be a civil war. I mean, right now that is looking pretty real.
Okay.
Right, especially the more that the deep state tries to hold on to all this stuff. But I feel like if we do have a civil war, it's really going to be like a world war. Because if you look around the world, a lot of different countries are following in the footsteps of us. I mean, down in Australia, they're getting really nasty down there, and I think that they're going to have a revolt pretty soon. So we have to look at all these governing parties and see, like, the uprising that's happening right now, the new world that we're coming into. New leaders are rising up, new influencers are gaining power, and it's all about the power of the people, right? The more that we gain, connection with people, like hearts and minds kind of thing, all right, that's authentic. People are going to start being more and more drawn to the authenticity, because it's going to start to affect everybody in some way, shape, or form. Right now, a lot of people still aren't affected, right? Like me, I haven't been affected a whole lot by all the, like, I don't like going out wearing my mask. I don't really wear it unless I kind of absolutely have to. But that has been kind of a pain in the ass. Hopefully that goes away. But you see other, like, states like California, New York, Massachusetts, like at Logan Airport, my mom just told me that they're putting up COVID testing stations. Like, so when you go fly, you have to get tested. The fuck's the point in that?
Okay, I have a question.
That's like, okay.
So I have had you on before, and I have had other people on, and I think because after I had you on, I had some discord from people because I started asking questions around what was happening, and people started thinking people want to assume what you believe in, want to label you, box you, put you in a category.
Yeah.
You're on the other side, you're the enemy.
Right.
And that because I had somebody that mentions some of the things that you've mentioned, which I can tell, I feel like some people might be triggered by some of the things that you've even already mentioned so far.
Absolutely.
But then I've also had my old coach, my first coach is trans.
Okay.
And I've had him on many times, but I had him on after you, and he's not very political, but he's sort of, I don't know where he stands exactly, but anyway, it's like people get blamed for having someone on a platform because the people that don't believe in it are like, why would you give that person a platform to talk about those sorts of things? And then when you have somebody else on that aligns with what they believe in, they're like, it's ghost, it's silence. It's like, okay, yeah, that's good, but don't you dare have anyone else on that disagrees with me. So how do you respond to that? Because you have a platform, you talk about a lot of things that a lot of people probably maybe don't agree with, and
that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't get like, a lot of people don't agree with the things I have to say. I've even had people unfollow me because I say that I support Trump, and I have I have my reasons. And even like with the vaccine thing, like that's another hot topic. There's a lot of hot topics out there, right? So but me, like, look, I believe what I believe from my experiences and what I feel in my heart, and I'm going to express that from my heart. And if someone doesn't like it, then that's their trigger, that's their prerogative.
Okay.
But I'm not going to take that on.
Okay.
I'm not going to let their trigger me. And that's something that I had to learn going through this because at first when I started this, I'd feel bad, like, for like hurting people's feelings or people talking. I used to get a lot of haters.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you deal with that?
I'm just like, you know what? I had to shift my mindset from, and again, this is like people pleasing or trying to get out there or trying to get validation.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Bring it back.
I had to shift from, seeking validation to just speaking my heart and being true to myself. And it's that authenticity that has brought me, this far. And the people that appreciate it, they let me know. Like, I appreciate all you guys. And the people that are triggered, if they have an intelligent, debate, I'm open to debating, and I'm open to talking about viewpoints, and I will back everything up. Like, if I believe something, it means that I've done my due diligence and do work. Not only that, though, I feel it intuitively.
Okay.
So if someone can convince me otherwise of something that I believe in, and we're going to sit down and we're going to debate and talk about it without getting, emotionally all retarded about it, then let's do it. But I am the most open-minded. Like, I mean, you see all the crazy shit that I do. Like, like, I'm all about learning new and being open. And usually especially things that get people triggered a lot. It's like, there's some kind of, like, different things work for different people. Right. And it's all based on our experiences. So when you can look at it like that, then you go deeper into, well, what experiences did you have that created that belief system in you? And then you go deeper into the belief systems, and you can really turn it into understanding where people are coming from. Now, if that's coming from a healthy place, cool. But 9 times out of 10, when you have something that gets emotional about a topic, it's coming from a place of trauma. It's a trauma response.
Oh.
And that is ultimately what I like to dig into.
But
that's
not
why
everybody does.
Not everybody does, but whenever there is an emotional response, it's more emotional than logical. 9 times out of 10, that's a trigger response. And I know this, and I've been there, and because I've been there and I know this, I get it. It's okay. You go through your process.
Okay.
You're learning. I'm learning. And that's a very important boundary that I've learned how to set up for myself in this past year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are going to assume, because I'm having you on again, that I believe everything that you believe, and that,
right,
you know, it's so all or nothing, and it's
unfortunate.
I see it as this has been a perpetual asking of each of us to go within.
Yeah.
Where are you hurting? Why are you upset? What is coming up for you? And it's like every moment, you have another opportunity to look within, and people are like, no, I won't. I'm mad. I hate that person. Right. No, I won't. I'm mad. I hate that person.
And we hold on to it with this, with this tightness, mm-hmm. this stubbornness. Like, no, I'm gonna suffer. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be angry. Fuck you.
Exactly.
Okay, dude. But that's like hold on to a hot coal. You're just burning your own fucking hand. Mm-hmm. Like, good luck.
Right.
Like, I'm just sending you love. Like that. That's how you change people, by not feeding their fire, but showing them, like, because look, when someone gets triggered and you don't feed that trigger, what does that do to them? It doesn't give them the fire that they're used to.
Right.
So it makes them question themselves. Usually not till after the fact. They'll never tell you.
I keep hoping that more and more people are questioning themselves and questioning our situations. I don't see it at the rate that maybe
Well, you're not going to see it because it starts in the etheric realm.
Okay. What does that mean?
So whenever a shift or a change, whenever you plant the seed, right? You like say, let's take this example for so you know, I'm talking to you and then you get triggered by something that I say.
Okay.
Right? But I don't respond in the way that your trigger expects me to respond, and we keep going on our day. Now, I planted a seed by not responding in a trigger, and it brings up instead of that, like, you almost get like a heightened fire, like, yeah, I was right, or, you know, I did something, right? I showed my ass. Instead of that, though, it gives you this curiosity. Almost like, okay, there's something missing there. What just happened? Why didn't I get that same response? And it starts as like a subconscious, almost void, like something is different here and I don't know what it is. Then that turns in over time while you have other experiences. Like maybe a week later, you'll have another experience where you get an argument, and then you see yourself getting emotional about it, and you're like, wait, why am I getting emotional about this? Mm-hmm. Right? So it starts energetically, and then it goes into a situation where that comes up again, and it triggers another response in you, which is another seed that will grow into finally the point where you're like, holy shit, now I get it, now I see it, but it takes steps.
Okay.
Right?
So we're stepping.
So we're stepping, but we're planting seeds. This entire year has been a seed planting experience.
Okay.
And those seeds, and that's where faith and trust comes in, because sometimes you don't know how to, you know, even know if you're planting seeds.
Okay.
Right? Or you don't know how it's going to grow, but you know, you plant a seed, the shit don't grow for, you know, months, maybe even years.
Yeah.
And this is where, like, you know, living life of service, helping people, and you know, always having the intention in your heart, like, what can I do to better improve this person's life or help this person in some way, shape, or form? And when you have that attitude going through things, you play, and you may not have no fucking idea how that person is going to change, but I've had people come back to me 3, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years later, and tell me, oh my God, or you like my astrology reports, right? Like, I've had people saying that you did my astrology report like a year ago. I don't know if you remember me, but I just watched it again, you know, last month, and oh my God, so much more made sense. And you were right on point, and everything that you said happened, and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And another person that I used to compete with, like back in, I think I competed against him like 2011. And he wrote me, I guess some like old picture popped up on his feed, and he messaged me like, hey dude, I haven't seen you in like 10 years. I just want to know, like, you know, it's because of you that I, you know, like, I guess I motivated him to stay on stage. He's going to walk away from competing. And I was like, nah, bro, you got this, man. Like, he was like, you took me aside. It wasn't in front of anybody. And, you know, you really helped me out. And was really grateful. Like I never would have, and I think you end up doing really well in that show. And so it's like little things like that, man. You know, like if you're doing it for show, people can tell. But if you're doing it from the heart, people can tell that too. And it's you don't get any external gratification from it at first, but if the energy comes back to you in one way or another, and the more that you do it, and the more that you believe in it, and the more you have faith in that, it compounds on itself. And I'm definitely seeing that now, like big time. Just meeting amazing people and just having very much more solid boundaries and really coming into a deeper level of alignment. And I'm able to see my own bullshit.
Really?
And that's huge. You know, I like seeing your own bullshit helps you see it in others.
What have you seen in yourself that you've been like, oh, let me correct that?
When I push myself too hard.
Okay.
And
Me
I
too.
mean,
That's a big
I
one for
just,
me.
yeah, like I'm always looking for that place in my mind where I'm in flow, or just I want to have these creative ideas and just keep pushing and growing and doing more. And I noticed that at this point now in the game, when I try to push it too much, my body just starts to hurt. I get tired. I literally like I start to not be able to sleep. I start to crave junk food. Like
Oh, wow.
all these things like start to hit me, and I'm like, oh, okay, disconnecting. I'm gonna go lay down on my sound lounge. And
oh, nice.
And just so that's why I got that, because it helps.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I have my thing is right now my toxic relationship with productivity. So being out in the wilderness, the desert, I've felt, oh, I'm not getting enough done. I'm not,
Right.
you know, my website needs to be here. I don't have enough clients because I just started coaching.
Okay.
I'm like, I gotta like get on the internet, but I don't have any internet.
Right.
I gotta like send some emails. I don't have any emails
Right.
to send from. So that's been super uncomfortable.
Okay.
And I think I almost divinely placed myself in this position where it's like, no, these are triggers. Step back in. This is teaching.
And that's how it works. And the work seems so tedious sometimes. It's
Oh,
so slow. It's like, oh my God. But
I thought I learned this already,
right,
universe.
Right. But you know, it's just like anything. When the more you practice it, you know, you make it a subconscious habit over time.
Okay.
And you don't see these things. It's like when you're getting ready for bodybuilding competition, right?
I haven't yet.
Right, but like, or when you're getting ready for any kind of competition, right? Like when fighters go into like their camp where they just, you know, they just surround themselves with certain people, you know, for like 3 months, right?
Wow.
You're completely same thing with contest prep.
Okay.
Like I do it every day, in and out, gonna eat my 7 meals, gonna sleep my 6 hours, gonna, you know, get in training twice a day. Like everything is structured, and if you mess up, you get back on it, you know, as soon as you can. You just keep going. But you know, like that process, it conditions you. Okay. So we can either condition ourselves with bad habits or condition ourselves with positive habits. And nobody that I know has just all good habits and no bad habits.
Really? Okay.
Especially like the most productive. Like I have a bunch of friends that are millionaires and people that are very, very successful. I also have friends that have nothing, right? Or, you know, seeming nothing. But a lot of the people that seemingly have nothing are actually much happier.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a lot of like think about it. You are responsible. Your energy is responsible for a vast array of things. When you have that much money coming in, you always have this thing in the back of your head, like you got to do this deal, I got to stay on top of this, you got to take it, like you got to trust employees, and you got to keep looking. You can never look at everything all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like this constant pressure that is hanging over you. Now, you know, some people thrive on that, but a lot of people at some point in time, they will have some kind of tower moment where their life will crumble or fall because they didn't appreciate this, or business is going great and relationship with the wife sucks, or, you know, you're not doing the best you can for your kids, or whatever it is. But that's like a lot of that is it's how we learn. And that's why I love astrology, because I can see, like I was just looking at my solar return chart for next year, because my birthday is coming up January 1st.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Thanks. And I have a lot of stuff in my 7th, 8th, and 10th house.
Okay.
So, well, first of all the energies on the top of the chart mean I'm going to be very extroverted. I'm going to be very out there.
Yeah.
No more internal work. This whole year has been internal work.
Oh, yeah. Next
year is going to be all external, like getting out there.
Community. I'm trying to imagine. I don't know astrology anywhere near.
That's okay. Well, the energies in the 7th house represent that I'm going to probably meet the woman that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with.
Wow.
that I'm gonna get married and do the whole like healthy marriage thing.
Okay.
And then energies in the eighth house represent other people's money, collaborations, right? Working
Isn't
with
also sex?
the eighth
Sex and death?
house.
Yeah.
The eighth house is also sex too. Yeah.
Okay.
So like or sexuality.
So you're gonna have some really good sex.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. 'Cause it's been a while.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and then the I have Jupiter and Saturn in the ninth house too. Ninth house is long distance travel. It's belief systems.
Yep.
And it's being a teacher, mentor. Right. 10th house is life purpose.
Okay.
Right. So
Yep.
I have Neptune in my 10th house. So that's like intuitive, collective consciousness.
Okay.
Like having really like unique creative ideas, to help the collective consciousness. And then 11th house, I have Mars in my, I think Mars and another asteroid. But Mars in the 11th house is getting out to big groups of people.
Yeah.
So, and my rising sign is Aries. Mars rules Aries. And my ascendant is actually 23 degrees, and that's at 27 degrees. So that means that the way I bring myself in the world is just going to be like, wow. That's why I was thinking, okay, so all these things line up for me, getting back in ridiculous shape and doing all this biohacking shit and fucking getting out in the world and just being my brand. Like,
I also see that you're now teaching astrology courses.
Yeah. I created a level 1 and level 2 astrology course, and I'm working going beyond that. I'm going to do a more like one-on-one, because I believe astrology is a very intuitive process. Learning, the energies of your own consciousness helps understand, other people's consciousness, which is how I learn. So I'm going to teach people on more of like a one-on-one basis with that for the level 3 and beyond.
Okay.
But really, for me, I take a very unique approach to astrology than other astrologers, because I actually use it as a form of coaching.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, the way that the planets can, are configured can teach you a lot about seeing your own triggers, seeing your own bullshit, seeing the lessons that you need to learn, and then creating a structure or strategy of what to look out for and why, and what to focus on, where the strengths are and why, right? So it's a really great way to, I mean, because that's basically what I did for myself.
Wow.
So everything that I've done for myself is just, it's worked for me. So
yeah, people
it's going to
think
work for
that
me.
astrology is going to predict your future.
Yeah,
I mean,
misconception. There is such thing as predictive astrology.
Oh,
I don't really get, because you have to go really way deep in like into the minutes and the numbers and the aspects. You have to go way down some rabbit holes. I'm more into the esoteric astrology, the energetics of it, right? The spiritual meaning behind what the planets represent.
Okay.
Right. I've met some astrologers that have like, it's more, they're more like the research and development crew, right? Where they will sit around and just study these transits in history and patterns and stuff all day and all night long. And they end up coming out predicting who's going to be president and what is going to happen in the world and all this stuff. It's pretty fascinating stuff. I mean, even looking at some of the like basic stuff, like the whole President Trump having the, North Node at 20 degrees. I mean, that is just, that's right there.
It can't be a coincidence.
No, it's definitely not a coincidence.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I also wanted to ask you about, because for some reason I have a connection, probably because of my journey that I'm on, where I've done trauma work.
Mm-hmm.
I've stepped into my role as being a conduit for healing. I have a deep fascination with Chiron.
Me too.
So Chiron retrograde is happening now and has been since August.
So yeah.
Okay. What does that mean for you?
So Chiron retrograde, it's different in a natal chart versus the transits.
Okay.
So if you have Chiron retrograde in a natal chart, that means that you are connected to past life healing gifts or modalities.
Okay.
Right. Chiron retrograde in transit just basically means that Chiron in Aries first and foremost is all about the collective ego. Okay, it's about asking the question, who am I? What am I meant to do here, and why? Okay, so this can bring up a lot of like crises in regards to that. It's especially coming into this new age. A lot of us are asking, who am I? Right? What am I meant to do? What's my purpose? And the purpose is in the wound. It's the answer lies in the middle of the vulnerability of that wound. So when it's retrograde, it means that we're going within, and whatever experience that we're having, that deep vulnerability is exposing itself on an internal basis, right? So you can have an interaction with someone out here, but whatever they say or do, how they make you feel in here is what we need to identify and not project it and blame it on other people.
That is like
That's
the
the trick.
lesson of the 2020.
100%, yeah, absolutely. And with all the attention right now on Aries, with Mars being retrograde, Mars rules Aries, right?
Okay.
Mars has not been in Aries since 1988, so that's another cycle that we're completing since 88. So think about back when you're, oh, were you alive then?
Yeah. I was 1.
You were 1, okay.
Yeah.
So I was 9.
Okay.
And so that was right around the time that I started like running away from home and like, you know, doing the foster care
That was
thing.
when I was in foster care. I was an orphan when I was 1.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How interesting.
And that's like, I think you just gave the title for this episode. The answer is in the wound.
So true.
Because I found my purpose in this show, this community that I'm building, our friendships I have with so many people, connections.
Yeah.
It's like, I found it in my wound because I went back to Korea last September, and I visited the orphanage. I went into the wound. I like dove head first, and that's how I found the answer.
That's beautiful.
To do all this, to share that story was the purpose.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So Chiron, I think that's why it means something.
Absolutely, and then you probably have a significant Chiron placement too.
Yeah, I wonder. So okay, here's the thing. Dr. Lennox he was pulling my chart, but I don't have my exact time of birth. So what he did was he pulled from the police report of when I was found, which was June 23rd. I was born June 22nd.
Okay. They
kind of carbon dated my birth based on what I looked like when I was found.
Really?
And I had my umbilical cord hanging out. So they were like, okay,
holy shit.
This guy was just born. So they said,
what would she have you like behind a dumpster or something?
I don't know. That's for my whole life. That's what I thought and envisioned for myself. So I broke a lot of images, like illustrations in my mind.
Yeah.
I tore those apart when I went and saw where I was.
Wow.
Because I visited the alley where I was found.
Wow.
And
that's deep, man.
It was just totally, these are my early episodes. This is kind of why I started this podcast. To document this and journal this. But Dr. Lennox pulled my chart for June 23rd at 7 a.m. in Daegu City, South Korea, which was where I was found. So I was wondering what your interpretation. We could find my Chiron.
Yeah, absolutely.
And can you, because I don't have a rising.
Everybody has a rising.
Well, I don't know my rising.
Okay, so
everyone has a rising.
June 23rd?
June 23rd, 1987.
1987.
7 a.m.
Let's see. You guys want to see it? Is the answer in his chart?
7 a.m.
Thanks, silent screen. Shout.
Ooh, people are talking.
Oh, yeah. We have the chat right there. All right, 7 a.m. And where?
Daegu City.
Daegu, how do you spell that?
D-A-E.
D-A-E.
G-U.
G-U.
City, South Korea.
All right, let's see. All right, so.
Is that my chart? Wow.
This would be your chart, yeah. So here, I'm gonna go ahead.
Cancer Sun.
Yeah. Let's. You guys want to see it? And pull it up on the.
Hi guys, I didn't even see y'all there.
On the video here. All right, let's see. All right, guys. So here's Steve's chart. All right. So yes, we see. We have a Pisces rising at 26 degrees.
Oh.
All right. You have a Cancer Sun and a Gemini moon.
A Gemini moon? I thought it was a Taurus moon.
Well, not according to this.
Oh, because I had a Taurus moon based on my birth date, June 22nd. So my actual.
Oh, so wait. So were you born on June 22nd or June 23rd?
So I was born on June 22nd, but I don't have the time. Sorry. And so Dr. Lennox said, we'll pull your chart for the time that you were found, because that was sort of like, this is his interpretation. This is like your birth. How do you? Because
No,
you
I'm not
can't.
feeling that.
Okay, so you can't pull a chart without a time, though, right?
Right. Well, the time represents where the ascendant's going to be
Okay.
and where your moon's going to be.
Oh, it does.
Yes. So
So if we did June
June.
22nd without a time, can we pull
Well,
up
no.
anything?
Let's do June 22nd at 7 a.m.
Okay,
24 hours earlier.
interesting.
So yeah, so that makes your moon in Taurus.
Okay, so
All
this
right.
okay, so just for everyone listening to the podcast, Nahum is pulling up my chart, and you guys all heard Dr. Lennox give an interpretation of my chart as in when the date and time that I was found by the
Yes.
police and in the police report, which I had paperwork on when I went back to Korea.
Okay.
Nahum is now going to do an interpretation of me based
Yes.
on 24 hours prior to that, which was my actual birth date on my birth certificate, which
Yeah.
is June 22nd, 1987.
Yeah. So from
7
what we
a.m.
can see here, your North Node is in Aries in your first house. So your ascendant is still 26 degrees. So your North Node here means that in this lifetime, you are meant to learn how to stand on your own, meaning that probably when you were younger, you gave yourself to your relationships. You like almost lose yourself in
Oh,
relationships. You give
okay.
your power away.
Okay.
So it's about learning how to like be in relationship with others while standing in your own power. Okay. Your moon in the second house is excellent because Taurus rules the second house. This makes your moon, your emotions very strong. And the second house also represents the money you make from the work that you do and your self-confidence and self-worth. So this is a very strong position for self-confidence and self-worth. Now, you have Chiron at 22 degrees, which is a master number in Gemini, all right, conjunct your sun at 0 degrees of Cancer. So this is significant because whenever Chiron is conjunct your sun or your ascendant or your moon, that means that you basically embody that Chiron energy. So that is a very significant aspect. So basically, you have a cloud of shadow around you that never seems to go away. And this is on the cusp of your third and fourth house. So first, do you have any siblings?
I have an adoptive sister that I know of, but I don't know anything else about my biological.
Okay. Well, this would say that you have a strained relationship with whatever siblings that
We've had
you may
issues,
have.
yeah, like probably
And
in our early adulthood.
and that is one big part of your karmic lesson in this life in order to be able to forgive and allow yourself to be vulnerable and loving in that situation. Also, this would suggest that throughout growing up, you had a very difficult time with learning, like almost like you couldn't pick up things in school and you had to find your own way to learn. Like for me, I had I stuttered really bad. Like
Really?
I had really bad anxiety
Oh,
when I was a kid. So I used to have like panic attacks and stuff. So um so uh through actually the first time I smoked weed was the first time that I spoke without a stutter in
really?
like 8 years. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So
I feel like that was probably in a movie somewhere.
probably, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Based on your life.
Okay, yeah, right. The story of the movie of my life.
Yeah.
But having the sun in the fourth house is a very, that's like your roots, that's your home family. That's like you and with being at 0 degrees of Cancer, that's really significant too, because 0 degrees is like the void space, right? This is basically you starting a whole new path in regards to your lineage about creating a foundation, like creating new roots, learning. Really, you are like the first in line in your lineage, creating a whole new lineage in a way.
Right. Well, I don't
Okay.
have any information. I'm not biologically related to anyone in my family because I'm adopted and my sister
Right.
is adopted.
So you are meant to pave your own way, if you will.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. So this is where you would probably really connect deeply to like, I'm actually feeling like either Native American or some kind of ancient Asian like tradition, like Buddhism, or even like some kind of shamanic practice. And like Buddhism is like the Asian version of shamanism.
My friend Carla in Hoboken in New Jersey, she was taking me to Buddhist meetups a
Okay.
couple years ago, and it did resonate with me.
So digging deep into that, would help you connect with your ancestors, because everyone has ancestors, but for you, it would be more like spirit guides and like really
Okay.
connecting in the spirit realm to ancestors.
Wow. Okay.
You also have a yod in your chart too.
What's a yod
So
again?
a yod is known as a finger of God. So this means that you came into this life with a significant burden, right? That your soul agreed to carry, to work through. And as you work through it, you embody this new, deeper energy from your empathic experience. And this is also the learning lesson is in your fourth house, right at Mars and Mercury, and they're both conjunct. And Mercury's retrograde, and so this means you get in your head about shit a lot.
I do.
But that's okay. And it's conjunct to Mars. So basically, when you're doing any kind of Mars shit, right? And your Mars in Cancer, which is very emotional. So this is a lot of energy in your home and family. Like you want a home and family. You want to create like you want to feel at home in yourself. And in order to be able to create a physical home, you have to know who you are at your roots of yourself. And that's why you're on this mission right now, to actually discover that deep understanding of who am I, why am I here, and what am I meant to create. And once you have that feeling within you of feeling at home, then you will take that and you will start to really create your life. So I have a feeling that your life hasn't even really begun yet, man. Now you have Pluto in the 8th house. So, and that's in the sign that it rules. So you're part of the Pluto Scorpio generation. So with that, this is about, when you come in contact with other people, this has to do with changing the way people look at sexuality, or even like exploring or experimenting with your idea of sexuality and your relationship to your own sexuality. And this also has to do with power and money too. Okay. Right? So sexuality, power, and money, they're all sacral chakra issues.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah. That's the chakra right down here. So your feelings about, like, is your kundalini active? Is it have you shut it down? Have you been celibate for a while? Are you fucking around, fucking everybody in sight? Like
out to pasture.
Okay.
Because I came out maybe like 12 years ago, but I don't have. It's funny because Stephanie did a romance reading for me, a tarot. She pulled some tarot cards for me.
Okay.
And it was the first time I really talked about my romantic life on the podcast. She was like,
okay.
"Why don't you talk about this? I'm gonna make you talk about this." She pulled the cards. She was like, "You're gonna meet your person here," and like all this, and it was just like, well, this is really not where I go normally with the show. And it's not because I've avoided it. I just felt like there's nothing to talk about. But that's interesting that you're bringing it.
Well, it's because you're not at that place yet.
Okay.
To feel like you're still searching for answers in that area. And Pluto, usually like once you hit your Pluto square, right around 35, 36 is when you start to get a lot of Plutonic questions and answers.
Okay.
All right. You'll have a little bit of a tower moment, and you get your heart broken, or something happens significant in a relationship, then you question everything about yourself. I've been there, you'll be there, and you'll learn from it and you'll grow.
Looking
forward to it. Yeah, right.
Is that a stellium? In the fourth house, yes, this would be a stellium. What does that mean again?
A stellium is just 3 or more planets in a house.
Does it have any sort of indication?
Well, it just means that there's a lot of energy in here. Like so you'll be really heavy. So actually your Cancer energy is very, very, very strong.
I know, I cry on almost every other episode. I do.
Well, Cancer doesn't just mean crying, man.
Okay, yeah.
Cancers are they're very connected to their emotions. You're ruled by the moon, so but being such strong Cancer with a Taurus moon is actually a very good thing.
Really?
Yes, because this means that you have a lot of control over your emotions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But that also might mean that you're apprehensive to show them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because Cancer, they have a hard shell. Right.
Okay.
I've dated quite a few Cancers.
Really?
Well, I'm Capricorn. Cancer's my polar opposite. So I get along really well with Cancers.
Mm-hmm.
But being Cancer, it's like you don't really show your cards unless you make it through that testing sequence, right? It's like it's like the Temple of Doom. You have to go through all these like tests and all these curiosities before you reach the safe spot. It's like, okay, now I can let you in. And here you have Saturn retrograde conjunct Uranus retrograde conjunct your midheaven in the 9th house. So this with Saturn and Uranus being conjunct, that's very significant. Okay. And in the ninth house, this is about your belief systems, about long distance travel. This could also represent too, like journeying, like ayahuasca and like astral travel, things like that. So when Uranus and Saturn are together, that's a lot of like you'll go through periods of time where it's constantly changing and evolving. That is like constant, like learning new things. You're like the eternal skeptic. You're the eternal questioning everything. And this is learning. So the way that you work with this is Saturn represents control, right? Uranus represents freedom from that control.
Okay.
So with those two sitting together, you might have this dichotomy where it's like you struggle back and forth with how do I let it go and how do I control it, and all these control dynamics in your consciousness. The way that you learn how to control it is through the Chiron energy, because Chiron sits in between Saturn and Uranus. So you feel the vulnerability in the Chiron energy. All right. So this could say like, oh, like, like I never feel like I know enough. I always have to do more studying. Like I don't feel worthy of actually sharing this content because I haven't done the due diligence. But really, but by being so hard on yourself, you created some really great ways to connect to the way that you learn.
Okay.
So that you eventually will be able to teach others how to learn. So essentially, this is like a very big teacher energy, right? Now, with this, the key to unlocking and working with this Uranus energy is through the vulnerability of your Chiron energy. So maybe not feeling like you have enough knowledge or wisdom, but sharing it anyways, right? Getting out there, taking the feedback with not emotionally. If anything triggers you, face that trigger. You ground it out through the Saturn energy of like, okay, I put it out there. Now, how is it coming back to me? When it comes back to me, how am I responding to that coming back to me? And you see your own processes, your own patterns, right? Through feeling that like extreme vulnerability. And through that is where you will master yourself. And you have Neptune in your 10th house. That's same thing I was talking about with my progress chart, right? And this is in Capricorn. So this is pretty heavy right now, where intuitive, like your life purpose is very intuitive. It's very, you have to feel it. It has to feel right. And then you have your White Moon Selena in the 11th house. This is your spiritual gift. So this is really you getting out there to people. You help people, which we already talked about, right? Wow. So yeah, very powerful chart. Actually, let's see. Let's see what you're going through right now, huh? Point solar nodes. Let's see transits.
Subsidiary chart.
Yeah, this is transits. Yeah, progressions. There we go. Yeah, so you have a lot of stuff going here with your identity. You have Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn right on top of your ascendant. Holy shit, dude! You're like in the chrysalis right now. You're going through a massive transformation. Your sun's at 29 degrees of Libra, in your 10th house, conjunct Mercury retro. So you're questioning yourself a lot, but you're feeling super driven towards whatever it is that you're going towards. Your North Node in 6th house is about your day-to-day structure of your life. You're going towards trying to figure out how to optimally structure everything you're going through.
I don't have any structure right now.
Right. So you're sort of in your South Node, looking for ways to get to your North Node, but you have a yod here going to your North Node. So you're learning a major karmic lesson here on. You're going through the process of discovering, how do I want my life to look? How do I want it to be? Where do I want to live? What do I want to do? How do I, and this yod is that discovery process. And that yod includes Pluto and Saturn. So this you can expect to be like the next 6 to 9 months where you're just traveling, discovering, trying to figure shit out. Really, next year, this time, you will know what you want to do for the rest of your life. You will have the courage to do it, and you will find where you want to go, and you will find your flow, I guess I could say.
Wow, that feels surreal. Not unreal, but surreal.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Kind of crazy. So
this is telling me, transits tell you what you're going through right now, as opposed to the birth chart.
Well, the progress chart, which it's coming up saying transits, but this is the
progressed chart.
But this is your progress chart.
This is where I'm at now. Today.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So how much should I? Because I don't have all the information that you need to have your actual natal chart. What do you think I should do in terms of Dr. Lennox version versus you intuitively just felt called to pull this one up for
Mhm.
June 22nd? How should I marry all these?
Whatever speaks to you.
Okay.
Whatever.
There's a lot that speaks to me.
Okay.
In what you just read.
I mean, like with it being so close, the only things that would be potentially be off is your ascendant and your moon. Everything else would be pretty much the same.
Right.
So
you're right. You're right.
So there's not going to be much difference to it, anyways. But also, I mean, I start channeling the information. So a lot of the stuff that I say is just, what's intuitively coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you feel like, oh, that makes sense, or you feel it intuitively in your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever you get in that way, then trust that.
Okay.
And whatever else you don't, then just throw it away. But I have a pretty good track record with,
Okay. Yeah, and it's just I have a very interesting situation without having a specific natal chart that's like, okay, this is my chart. I have sort of like 3 chart, like I could have
and you can look at all of them and get like a whole bunch of different information, from them. But just take what resonates with you.
Okay.
But you will find with your sun being conjunct Chiron there that you automatically magnetize a lot of wounded people to you, but it's because you were able to, just from your presence, you're able to heal them. Now the key is to not try to heal them, right? It's just by you being you, by you having boundaries, by you having presence. But the problem is when you attract that, it tempts you to go into like sacrificing yourself or others for people to cross your boundaries, right? So as you grow and you learn how to help people more, and you learn how to coach, like you get, some more experience with coaching, you'll see where people automatically try to, violate your boundaries. Not that they're doing it, right, with bad intentions, but it's because they don't have those boundaries. So by you just holding your own boundaries, you are teaching them their boundaries. It's all energetic. It's nothing that you have to think about, really.
Okay.
And then you take your coaching style and you wrap it around that package.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. The Buddhism thing is kind of interesting.
Buddhism is powerful, man. I studied Buddhism for about a year. I did that for a little while. It ultimately, like, I resonated more with shamanism.
Okay.
But everybody has their own way, as long as it works for you. That's the important thing.
Could you interpret what today is for everyone? Is that possible? Is that a thing that you can do?
What do you mean?
You do energy reports.
Yeah, I do a daily energy report.
Okay. So have you already done yours today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to give like a summary of maybe not today's, because people won't listen to today's. And that's just like, people aren't going to listen to this on the day that we record this.
Right.
So maybe do you do one for the year or the rest of the year?
Well, I've done a couple. I mean, this one specifically today has been about December 21st.
Okay.
So
yeah.
But I'm actually getting ready to do my 2021 yearly report. So I'm gonna do one for each sign. So
okay.
That one will be really interesting because next year is gonna be very different than this year. But
really,
yeah, if we were gonna do an energy report, I'd do it for December 21st.
Okay.
Because that's gonna be the day of days.
Okay, how so?
Well, December 21st is a solstice one. Oh, I think it's on the 22nd actually.
Oh, it is?
Well, let me pull it up here. Current transits. 20. Wow. 21st. Okay, so the 21st is that's the solstice. That's the day that the sun goes into Capricorn. So this is when we have now Saturn and Jupiter go into their conjunction on the 17th. Technically, here I'll pull this up so that we can all share and look at this.
Sharing is caring,
right? So this day is really this is going to be exact in the same degree for about 3 days. This is the last day, I believe, on the 23rd, 24th Jupiter goes into 1 degree. So it's literally Christmas Eve.
Oh my
So
God.
so that entire week is just going to be nuts. But we have right here we have the nodes at 19 degrees. Notice Neptune is direct now at 18 degrees. So they're almost exactly square.
Right.
So when Neptune is square the nodes, that's when shit just gets weird. I mean, Neptune is the planet of illusion, delusion. Neptune rules the media. Neptune rules Hollywood. It represents the fantasies and like the things that we like the things that we play in our mind almost, right? So with Neptune squaring the nodes is it's squaring our destiny points, where we came from, where we're going.
Yeah.
So it can be confused, or getting these big crazy ideas like, wow, I'm gonna become president, right? Like, well, is that an illusion or is that legit?
Okay.
Right? So we have to kind of watch, especially with Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting on the same day. This is some massive, massive energy that it may almost be like delusional, or having like delusions of grandeur, things like that. So we want to really stay grounded in this energy. And we have the sun, just 1 degree away from Mercury here too. Whenever Mercury is around the sun, we actually have that going on now with the Mercury retrograde too in Scorpio. So whenever that's going on, we're getting a lot of information. We're getting a lot of clarity. We're getting a lot of downloads. We're getting like instructions for the next chapter. All right, this is what's going on, right? And they're both direct, so that's good. Right now, like Mercury is retrograde. So when that crosses over the sun in Scorpio, it's going to be like, it's going to make us think internally of a lot of things or question more things. And then when it crosses over again, that's when the epiphanies, the aha moments, like in the Scorpio energy, which is about sex, it's about desire, it's about what we're really craving and wanting underneath. It's the detective. It's when it's retrograde, it's the detective within ourselves, within our heart, our mind. When it's direct, it's the detective of how to see or get or figure out the things in the outside world, right? So, and then we have Pluto at 23 degrees on this day, which is right at the spot where it, what's up, Sarah? Pluto at 23 degrees is exactly where the Saturn-Pluto conjunction happened back in January. So while these other things are happening, we have Pluto still sitting on this one point that is really, with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, like if you picture a highway, like we broke apart all like the concrete and all this shit came up and we cleared all this stuff out from the underground that we didn't even know was there. Now that Saturn has passed Pluto and is not a part of that Saturn-Pluto conjunction anymore, now Saturn has repaved the road. All right, it's all nice and clean, has a more firm structure, and everything is like evolved, right? So now Pluto is coming back over it, saying, okay, now this is how we're gonna invent ourselves with this new foundation. So maybe we tried something earlier, like years ago, that didn't work the way that we thought it was going to, and it's gonna bring that, potential experience back to say, okay, now we can do it right. Now we can do it different. Also on this day, we have the moon that's going to be conjunct to Chiron here. And Mars is at 23 degrees. So on this day with this going on, we also have the third and final Mars-Pluto square, which is just fucking mind-boggling that this is all happening on the same day. This is going to be an intense Christmas, guys. Like this, I mean, the final of 3 Mars-Pluto square is probably the most difficult aspect in astrology. Not gonna lie. It's in really intense, deep emotions. It's seeing your own shit and calling yourself out in your own shit. It is it's facing the deepest fears that you never want to look at. It's like, I mean, like I'll give an example. Like during the first Pluto Mars square back in August was when I went to go see my daughter. I've been in a custody battle for a couple of years now. I went to go see my daughter for the first time in a year.
Wow.
And I saw her and she didn't recognize me. I had to wear a mask. It was, and she was crying, and it was the most emotionally difficult experience I think I've ever had in my life. One of them. It literally, like after that day, like I went back to my Airbnb and I literally slept for 12 hours straight. I was so exhausted. I could barely function. So it's a reality check. It's very emotionally intense. It's going to be one of the most emotionally intense experience that we had, because it's also the third and final one. So it's It's closing out that cycle of that deep thing that we need to learn and grow from. So this day is going to be a massive slice of humble pie, and it's going to be right in your face. So whatever comes through, whatever happens, just acknowledge it and accept it, and move through it the best way you can. And of course, with on top of that, with the moon being conjunct Chiron, that is, Chiron is vulnerability. The moon is your emotions. So your moon is directly like, this is going to be the deepest purge that we probably ever have around it. That's why this is so intense. This is literally the shift into this higher vibration where we can no longer carry this dense energy in our hearts anymore. And all these aspects, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. We have some good spots for Venus. That's good. And we have Saturn and Jupiter moving into the square with Uranus here too. So those are 6 some of the most intense and tumultuous energies that we will ever see in our lifetime.
Was anything purged for you or released when you saw your daughter?
Yes, it was, but it was a cumulative thing. It was more like, it hit me like I went 12 rounds of Tyson. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I had a concussion for like a week, basically. Mm-hmm. But I moved through it, and through the process of moving through it, I had some realizations that, like, I made some very difficult and life-changing decisions that I had to make in regards to that situation. But I felt it was the right thing to do. And, like, you have to make difficult decisions in life and follow, like, I realized that I wasn't following my heart. I was following what I thought that I needed to do. And getting divorced, similar, that definitely sucks. So, but we have to face these things. We have to feel them if you want to grow. And, and facing these things, especially to this deep a level, requires us to really see the forest for the trees, see the bigger picture, take a step back and not be in the emotion of it, and really be mature and look and be like, okay, this is what needs to be done for the best of all, right? And so yeah, just be ready, guys. Like, this we have to prepare for this energy, because the purging is going to be so deep and so intense that you will not be the same person after this, and you can't be the same person. And this is the gate, this is the doorway that unlocks us to everything that we want in our life. But in order to go there, we have to drop off all the shit that we've been holding on to that is not serving us. And sometimes we don't know what that is. Our mind is the trickster sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to go in that pain. We have to go in that vulnerability. We have to go into that, to the depth of that feeling that we don't think we can handle. But what thinks that we can't handle it is our ego. It's that control dynamic. When you surrender, you realize that you're so much stronger and more powerful. And that is what creates that more authentic, deeper, passionate you that is meant to come out in the world to, with your mission to humanity. So yeah, very, very deep, intense times coming up, my friend. So, stay the course. Good. We have Venus in Sagittarius, which is a really great placement. That's like having a beautiful mind, beautiful thoughts, beautiful ways of just processing information and having really great conversations, really giving us the opportunity to expand our mind and look at all these difficult aspects with humility and with gratitude for the learned lessons. And this is trining over to Chiron and the moon. So that's going to be a big plus. Plus we have Uranus trining the sun, which is one of the greatest aspects of all too, right? So with that trine, that's going to counteract some of the negative energy, but it's this Uranian energy. And the Uranian energy, this is a Kundalini awakening like you've never experienced before. So with that Kundalini activation, we have to, the process of working with Kundalini information, and this is what I teach in my level 2 astrology course, because I'm so connected to the Chiron process and my Chiron readings, is that we have to acknowledge and accept the Chiron energy of vulnerability, that fear of not being in control, right? That vulnerability allows us to open up and allows that Kundalini energy to move through. Then once it comes through, we put it out there, And then we ground it back out through the Saturnian energy. And with Saturn being at 0 degrees, conjunct Jupiter, that Saturnian energy is going to be fierce. It's going to be intense. It's going to be educational. It's going to be evolutionary. And it's going to be, but it's all these energies are going to require us to surrender. And that's why we have to practice surrendering now. And in November, we're going to have the opportunity to embrace that at another level with the last of 3 Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions, which is sort of like, that's like the preview. That's going to be like, while all the crazy, like that's going to cause chaos, like around everywhere. But when we're able to keep our stillness in the chaos of the world, that's where that test is going to be. So we stand strong in our stillness in our heart, knowing and having faith that things are really coming to turn around and create a great future for us. When we do that, then we go into December with this knowingness, just opening up and just, all right, let's go. Just take me down to Paradise City, baby. Like, this is where we go. And in 2021 can and will be Paradise City if you choose to embrace this energy. I'm telling you, it's a lot of people's lives are going to change in a very, very big way, provided that you stand in this power of your Chiron and Uranian energy.
I would say that probably everyone listening to the YouTube and also the podcast, because yours and my community are the light worker community.
100%.
What would you say, how do you think us as light workers, all of us, everybody, hi out there, what can we do in terms of surrendering, like in the here and now, like a step? Or because there's a lot of people that are in denser vibrations that all of us are dealing with in our day-to-day lives. It's like, God damn it, when are you going to wake up, people?
Well, see, that's the thing. We can't, right now, it's kind of pointless to try to wake other people up, so to speak.
Okay.
The real,
all right, see you.
the real work is doing the internal work and then sharing it. So creating or connecting to communities like this, right? Getting the support that you need from people that really allow you to be vulnerable and understand is going to be huge. Take me to church, Metallica. I love it. Definitely doing everything you can to keep your body and your mind as healthy as possible. Like if you're in a situation where you're like living with a toxic roommate or in a toxic relationship, you need to take action and get the fuck out of that, like now. That's, I mean, if you've been feeling for a while like shit's wrong or you're just waiting or procrastinating, things might change, things get better, blah blah blah. But deep down, you know. But if you're living like if they're financially providing for you, or if they're like doing something that's making your life easier, that's another reason that you know that you need to get out, because this is about standing on your own 2 feet. And that may be scary. What if you can what if this thing all day long? But the fact is that you have to step in the unknown, and you have to, man up, woman up, whatever, and you have to handle it, because this is a part of your karmic lesson. And the karmic lessons right now are very, very obvious. So whatever moves you have, whether it's an addiction, right? Whether it's procrastination, whether it's, trying to do too much, it's going to be unique and different for everyone. But reaching out to like-minded people and getting the support is going to be crucial. And speaking and taking action on your truth and having trust and faith in that truth. Not, sometimes you can question yourself, or you can confuse intuition with fear. And right now, like every time you take a step in the direction of trusting your intuition, you overcome that fear and you trust your heart more. So it's really, it all comes down to that. It's very, very, very basic. And then whatever next step there is, you focus on the here and now, and whatever next step there is, you will be guided, you will be shown in the right time. And you have to trust that.
Trusting and surrendering.
Trusting and surrendering is everything.
Ooh, that's hard. That's a hard lesson learned.
Yes, but it's that. But without that, you're not living from the heart space. Right. So it's all about. This is all about activating that heart chakra. The heart chakra is so incredibly powerful. So step into it, guys. And I think anybody that really watches content like this, I think that they're at least curious,
right?
Or they're at least trying,
yeah,
right? I think everybody is. is trying, because you're seeking out this information. If not, you wouldn't give a shit. You'd be listening to, you'd be watching the Kardashians or something.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
Yeah.
That's why I say like everyone here is on the side of Starseed.
Yeah.
Wanting to make the change, be the change. But it can be defeating when you watch a video or listen to a podcast, like the stuff that we try to put out there, and then you try to reintegrate into the third dimension, and it's like everyone's, you know, living unhealthy lives and working jobs they hate, and it's just energy that like
it can put you in.
Yeah.
Again, well, I mean, that's exactly why I moved out here to Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I grew up in Massachusetts, and
Yeah.
look, I love Massachusetts, and I love visiting there, but every time I go home, the energy is so different. Everybody is like 20 years behind over here.
Wow.
It's everybody works a 9 to 5. Everybody has these belief systems of, you know, they're just sort of obsolete in my opinion.
Okay.
And then you know, like, I mean, I know like my family and like a lot of people that I still connect with up there, they're like on the same page, but like a lot of the friends that I had, you know, in high school and stuff, they're in very different worlds now.
Right. I mean, my universe was kind of like, you're going to get laid off because you're not living your purpose and you're not doing it fast enough. So
that's what
bye-bye to your job, Steve. Go hit the road. Get in your
Yeah.
car and go. So I felt like it was just, it happened to me almost like that North Node. So
Right.
it definitely is when you surrender, you just can fall into what is meant for you.
I like to say rise into, not fall into.
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Different interpretations.
Rise. Just like when you fall in love, you're not falling into
Oh
love.
my God.
You're rising
yes,
into
I
love.
saw that quote.
Right?
Yeah, I saw a quote.
Or like, why do people say understand? I like to say understand. I understand you. My inner understands your inner. Right?
I just mean fall, like trust fall, the way you trust backwards. Yeah. I want to find this quote that I saw.
Okay. I appreciate all you guys in the chat, man. Thank you very much. Ruby and Darcy and Christine, you guys are freaking awesome. Sarah, Ariel, hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Do they have any questions?
Yeah, do you guys have any questions at all for me or Steve? What's up? How's everything going on out there?
Oh, don't ever think I fell for you or fell over you. I didn't fall in love. I rose in it. Toni Morrison. This is Mark Groves.
Okay.
The love. So you reminded me of that.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so true.
It really is.
Any questions for us? Well, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing about the situation with
man, you know,
I know.
Well, I think that's important, you know, like exactly, like I'm practicing what I preach, right? Like being vulnerable, you know, shows that, hey, it's possible. Like a big, you know, muscle head like me can be emotional and vulnerable, and that helps other people, you know, gain that confidence to be vulnerable.
That's what I love about you, is that externally you don't look like people would have expectations about who and what you're about by looking at you, and you totally break that. You're like, no, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
You don't have to look at others and can't judge a book by its cover kind of thing.
Yeah. I have an Aquarius moon.
Okay.
That's my Aquarius moon acting. I like to break the mold in everything that I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this is why Steph and Jay, I love you, because you know, it's so unique, and it's like if more people could step into this, their uniqueness, their you-ness.
Yeah, your you-ness.
Yeah, your you-ness. Then
get into the vortex, baby.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Nobody has any questions, I guess. Everyone's just
okay.
Like,
yeah. Well, definitely appreciate you guys jumping in on the live. Please go check out Steve and his podcast, Me, Myself, and Why. You yourself and why.
Yeah,
I was thinking
okay.
third person. And I think I'm gonna be doing a few more of these, you know, lives here in the next month or so, just because the energy is so intense, and you know, we're getting ready to, you know, really embrace a lot of stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in, and check out some more. And also, if you're not, I think all you guys are following me on Instagram, but if not, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, spiritual_bodybuilder. When did you begin your coaching journey, Steve?
So I just graduated from IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I matriculated in January, and then And then I got laid off in May. So I switched from a 1-year program. I fast tracked to a 6-month, and so I graduated in 9 months. And I've been coaching for a couple months now. I have a couple clients. It's very new. I'm loving it. I'm loving the way my clients show up. Super open to change, super open to being the space around what they're feeling, and it just empowers me. It brings me such joy to be there for my clients. So if you are interested, send me a message.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I love it. And for all you podcast listeners, how can they follow Spiritual Bodybuilder?
Well, I mean, I do all my stuff on YouTube and Instagram. So,
Okay.
And Spiritual Bodybuilder on YouTube, spiritual_bodybuilder on Instagram.
Okay.
Very simple. And you go to my website and check out all the stuff that I do, all my services at spiritualbodybuilder.com. Pretty simple.
So, and your offerings are, you're doing the astrology course.
Astrology, I coach as well.
Okay.
And I have, let's see, I do astrology courses. I do astrology readings. Four different kinds of astrology readings, and I do euphoria and coaching. Is that it? I think that's
you have
it.
The ebook.
I have my free ebook. Yes, true. Oh, and I have the opportunity community.
Explain that a little bit more.
So the opportunity community. So I create a 4-week transformational protocol. It's a dynamic coaching process, which is 4 weeks, and essentially it's meant every week you have assignments, right? And after 7 consecutive days, you finish that week and you go to the next week. And by week 4, you can take this structure that you have gone through and make it your own to repeat it however it is that you want. And then every week we have a community call, a Zoom call, that's also posted on the website, so you can watch it after the fact as well. That every other week I have a guest on to talk about different subjects. And then the other weeks we get together, we all just connect and talk, and we have some amazing, great people that that I've been working with for a long time that have really come a long way in a short period of time. So yeah, it's one big family, connecting, especially if you live in an area where there's not a whole lot of people that you can connect with, once a week, it's kind of like therapy, like talking about the energy and, like what everybody's going through, and we all support each other, network with each other. I've gotten, like, a lot of my people are coaches and tarot readers and astrologers, and we all, help each other, with clientele and things like that. So jump on in, check it out. And Steve, where can we find you?
So I am at You, Yourself, and Why on Facebook. It's a private group. You can just request to join. I think there's one question, and you can say you found it through the podcast or through YouTube, however. I like to keep it really intimate, so it requires a little extra effort to request to join a group, and so I know that the people that are there are dedicated to being there.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's safe there. We also have an open group on Instagram at You, Yourself, and Why. It's just spiritual memes and funny sort of pictographs of just the journey that we're all on. I also have my personal Instagram where I'm sharing everything, all the shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's at Steve Y. Gardner. I'm covering my road trip. I do just inspirational downloads that I'm coming in with. Where else? And then the podcast, if you want to find You, Yourself, and Why on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere where you get your podcasts, I guess. Also, you can just reach out to me, info@youyourselfandwhy.com, if you have any questions, want to talk about your wellness journey, where you're headed, where you'd like to go, where you've been, all that.
Right.
I'd love to talk to you and just hold space for you.
Beautiful. So You, Yourself, and Why. Check it out.
Bingo.
There we go.
So right. I guess any last minute advice for my listeners? I like to do a send off. For the rest of the year, 2020, how can we finish with integrity?
Finish the year off by listening to your heart 100%. And that's it. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate, because the mind complicates it. Just listen to your heart and take action on what your heart tells you with every breath that you take. You do that, you're going to have a great 2021.
drop out of your head into your heart.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, good times. Go team. Appreciate you guys for showing up. And we'll see you guys again on the next report. All right.
Bye guys. Thank you.